from a crazy month, and today we're going to be talking about our birth story, which is actually going to be more of a therapy session for us, I think, because we haven't actually spoken about it together at all. Like from start to finish, we haven't spoken about it. I want to say to all the people who are pregnant and are watching and are about to give birth, I do recommend looking at positive birth stories. I do recommend that because there's no point in being fearful about birth. However, if you have already given birth and you are processing some trauma around it, or you're going through maybe postpartum depression or something like that, because that is linked to birth trauma, then this is a video for you, because here we're going to talk about it. We're going to make it known and discuss things that so many people don't discuss. Like, I went through so many things in this birth and postpartum, which I'll do a separate video on, but I went through so many things that I just never heard about. People just never spoke about it or anything.
Yeah, it was kind of like we were deer in headlights, because there were so many things that were like, is this only happening to us? Until we asked people, they were like, no, no, that's normal.
Yes, when you ask people, then they're like, oh yeah, that happens. And you're like, but why does nobody tell me? Like, why does nobody tell you this? And I think it's because it's hard to talk about and it's hard to remember. Like, you just want to forget about it and move on and enjoy your baby, you know? So we have a beautiful baby out of it, so it's all worth it, of course. But the birth was traumatic, I have to say. And we're still processing it. We are still going through that process of integrating the trauma and processing the trauma, because it was traumatic for both of us. He was there through the whole thing. That's why he's here now also speaking about it. So we're going to be discussing those hard to discuss things, and we're going to be talking about everything. One thing that I wanted to say is that people always say expect the unexpected, and I was like, okay, so we're going to expect the unexpected, but I didn't know that it would be this different. I didn't, and you'll see what I mean by that. And then also we did have a birth plan, so I'll do a separate video on what the birth plan was, because that's also quite detailed. We did have a birth plan. I wanted to do a natural birth, as natural as possible. I wanted to try do it without epidural. I wanted to do a vaginal birth. I didn't want medication. Like, there were a lot of things on our birth plan, but the birth plan kind of went out of the window.
Yeah. And I had a few copies of it, one for the nurse, one for me, one for the doctor, one for everyone, and it was kind of like lost in translation.
No, it wasn't lost in translation. They all respected it. They did all respect it. We had a wonderful hospital.
But the way it went, just the plan was completely different.
Okay, so we'll start with the story then. Okay, so I always thought that I was going to go into labor early. Like, I just had this intuition that I was going to go into labor early, but I think it was more of a subconscious thing and a subconscious fear, I will say, because I was born really quickly. Like, there was no doctor to deliver me, so my mom had me really quickly. She basically had me in the parking lot. She didn't really, but almost. And I shot out, so I was like a little bit scared of giving birth early, and it was like a trauma for me. All right, so then from the 8th of October, I started to get these I just didn't feel normal at all. I didn't feel normal. I was getting rushes of adrenaline. I was having diarrhea. I was getting like really nauseous. What else was I saying? I was feeling just like really shaky, weak, nauseous, diarrhea, and rushes of adrenaline. Like, my body was like, let's go. And I was like, what's happening? Where are we going? And like, I thought that something big was happening. This is what I felt, okay? And I did feel cramping and pressure. Actually, even before that, I was getting Braxton Hicks. I was feeling a lot of pressure. I was feeling like the baby was pushing down on me.
Lack of sleep as well.
Lack of sleep. Was I getting lack of sleep?
Lack of sleep, and also like waking up in the night, scared that it's coming, like it's coming right now. But
yeah. I would wake up in the night and be like, oh, this is it. Like, I think it's coming. Yeah.
See, at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of these fears came from I mean, the doctor kept on telling us that the baby's going to come early. The doctors that we're with always checked down there, and they were like, the baby's going to come early.
Yeah, because my cervix was soft. Yeah.
So this was also, it added on the fear.
Yeah.
It made it stronger, I think.
So the 8th of October, I got these like crazy rushes, crazy nausea, diarrhea, dizziness. I was getting like really, really hot and sweaty, and I was really scared. I was alone at home. He was at work. I went downstairs and I spoke to the security guard downstairs, and she's like, oh, that's exactly what happened to me, and my baby came. And I was like, oh my God. She's like, I think you should go to the hospital to get checked. So I was like, okay.
And I think she kept on saying to you, the baby's coming, the baby's coming.
Yeah, like she was telling me, this is it. And so I called Russ, he came from work, we went to the hospital, and they told me that my cervix was really soft. They told me that I was having contractions, small contractions, like, but not regular. So they were saying that my cervix was irritated. That's the word that they used. My cervix was irritated. Yeah. And they said it was really soft.
Yes.
They were like, we don't see this usually with the first baby. It's usually only with the second baby that it's this soft and thinning out this early. So I was like, okay, it is coming early. Like, I'm sure the baby's coming early. It will not last until its due date. And by the way, I was given 2 due dates, because I changed hospitals. We moved cities, remember? And I changed hospitals. So my first hospital gave me a due date of the 29th of October. Well, it was between the 27th and the 29th, they said. And that was according to the way the baby was measuring in the beginning stages. And then the next hospital gave me a due date according to my cycle, which was the 23rd of October. So the first hospital said that I ovulated late. Second hospital went according to my cycle. So now I had a due date at this new hospital for the 23rd of October, and it was now the 8th of October. And I was really soft. I was having these symptoms, and I was having like little contractions. Okay. Then at my next appointment, doctor's appointment, I went in and she told me that I was 2 centimeters dilated.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And at every other day, I was having symptoms, like these waves, and mostly in the morning, by the way. It was mostly in the morning, and I was having these waves of adrenaline. I was feeling really, really nauseous. I was getting like crampy and diarrhea. And I thought it was diarrhea cramps. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, the cramps are from the diarrhea, but it was confusing. It was so confusing. Like, I did not know if I was in labor. I didn't know. So I was like so confused, and I was like, I just want to go into labor and be sore so that I know I'm in labor. I just want the pain. I just want to know that this is labor, you know? But it was feeling sick, which I always said I can deal with pain. I can't deal with feeling sick. Thank goodness labor is pain. But I was feeling sick. So I was like, oh no. So
and you were 2 centimeters, so we were like, oh my God, it's coming very soon.
So I was 2 centimeters and still soft. And yeah, so then Ross's parents arrived to come and stay with us. We're in a 1-bedroom apartment, all of us, 1 toilet. Ross's parents are here. And they come and stay with us. And we all go to the next doctor's appointment, and she tells me that I am 3 centimeters dilated. So that was on the 25th of October.
Yes.
25th.
So that was after the due date of this current
After
hospital.
the due date. And she told me, we're going to give you a week. If the baby doesn't come by, I don't know when, in 5 days, we'll make an appointment for the 30th for an induction. I did not want an induction. She knew that, but she said that it's just the safest way to go. Obviously, the medical system does that. We had a really nice hospital, really nice midwives. So it was midwife-led, and they did like water births if you wanted a water birth, and they respected if you wanted a natural birth. So it was really, really nice. Only the doctor came in like for the last minute, like the last push, basically. Yeah. So it was the most natural hospital we could have gone with, and a really nice environment. You can eat while you're in labor, you can move around. They put the curtains down, the blinds down, they make the environment dark. They had stars that would go up on the roof. Like, it was really amazing hospital. So that's one thing.
Really good, really good, yeah.
So they told us we have to schedule an induction for the 30th. And I was like, okay, so I just scheduled it, and then I just didn't feel right about it. So I canceled it. I wanted to give myself more time. So we're just trying to figure out what exactly transpired. So we canceled it, but we still went in to be checked. Oh yeah, I said, I don't want to be induced. I just want them to check that everything's all right with the baby. That's what I wanted. So I wanted to check that there was enough fluid still there, and I wanted them to check that his heartbeat was all good. What was the other thing? There's two things that you should make sure: that there's enough fluid and that his heartbeat is good. I think those are the two things. I think
so, yeah. I think that's what they said.
Yeah, so I wanted them to just check that everything was all right and still good to go. And I was like, as long as he's healthy and not in danger, I don't want to be induced. That was my way of dealing with it. So we went in on the 30th and we wanted to be checked. And then they told me that I'm in active labor. They were like, you're 4 centimeters dilated. You're having regular contractions, like 5 minutes apart, and you're in active labor. And I was on the monitor having regular contractions. And they're like, are you not feeling pain? And I was like, no, not really. And they were like, you're having regular contractions. That's very weird that you're not feeling pain.
How's it, guys? So we just got to the hospital, and apparently little Kimmy is in active labor with absolutely no pain.
Just squeezing.
Which is quite amazing. So
we'll probably look back on this and laugh at the end of it.
Yeah.
And whoa, the pain came hard and fast. But right now, they said that I can even get admitted to the hospital if I want to, which I'm like, what? So we'll see. We gotta make a decision.
yep, we're waiting for the doctor to give her view on it. The doctor that we've been with for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And then we got over here the machine that's reading baby's heart rate, and everything is looking healthy. And yeah, if you want to see my face, here I am.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling excited. And how are you feeling?
Like, oh, I'm feeling emotional. Emotional is the word.
That's so exciting. We can't wait to see little baby AG.
And then they were like, we're gonna have to admit you to the hospital. We can't send you home like this. You're in active labor. Like, people have to be in the hospital like this. So I was like, I don't think I should be in the hospital right now. Like, I don't feel like I'm in labor. And then they were like, okay, if you leave now, you have to sign a form to say that you've gone against our advice because it's not safe for you to leave. And I was like, what? They were like, it's not safe for you to leave. And I was like, okay. I signed a form to leave and I left. And yeah, we left.
We decided to come home, and so we were in our own home, our own personal space, so we can allow the baby to come down nicely. We went outside, we did a lot of walking around the area, just had a peaceful experience.
Ate lots of pineapple.
And we made a decision
dates.
to be checked in to the hospital the next day.
Yeah.
So obviously it was only a few hours that we were not going to be supervised and looked over and stuff like that by doctors, but we thought it was the best decision because nothing was really happening for Kim.
Yeah.
Yes, we were in active labor, but how long is active labor? No one could really give us some advice, you know, when
you
it's
can't
gonna come.
tell. You can't tell.
Yeah.
But also, and we didn't want to pay for an extra night at the hospital because we weren't covered on our insurance at this hospital, so we would have to get reimbursed. So we'd be paying upfront and then get reimbursed. So we didn't want to pay an extra night
For nothing.
For nothing, yeah, for literally nothing. And also, I would be more comfortable at home anyway, so there's more chance of baby coming at home.
Correct.
We lived like 20 minutes away from the hospital, and they asked me, they were like, how far do you live from the hospital? And I was like, 20 minutes away. And then they said, I suggest you stay, because they thought that it was going to come, which reiterated my fear about the baby just coming like suddenly. So I was like, oh my God. Anyway, we said, okay, we will go home and we will check in tomorrow morning before he goes to work, which is really early, 3 a.m. So that's what we did. We came home, we relaxed. I'm really glad we did that, by the way. All the decisions that we made for ourselves, really glad we did it. This is my advice. Follow your gut, follow your intuition. This is my number one and like tip.
But use your brain.
Use your brain and weigh out the pros and cons, and listen to the medical staff. They are experienced, they know what they're doing, but then also use your intuition and do your own research at the same time.
Basically, the most important thing is to make sure that you are safe and the baby is safe. Is the baby healthy? Are you healthy in terms of the heartbeat, in terms of the enough fluid? then it's fine, you know?
Yeah. I had read, and so had he, we had read Ina May's Guide to Childbirth, and like I found it so inspiring. I really related to it. I really wanted to do birth that way. And I also read the hypnobirthing book. I'll put it up on the screen. And I was so inspired by that, and I felt so empowered, and I was so ready to give birth naturally. That's what I wanted to do. But you have to realize that it's not a straightforward thing. Just like anything when it comes to health or the human body or the human psyche, because that's also very much a part of it, is like your subconscious beliefs and all of that. So giving birth is very primal, and there's a lot of factors to it. And we live in a modern world, you know, so it's complicated. It's complicated. So anyway, we came back the next day, 3 a.m. and we actually took some videos, so I'll insert those video clips of that happening. It is now 4:25 a.m. and we're on the way to the hospital because yesterday they told me I'm in active labor, even though I'm not really feeling anything. I'm feeling sick. But yeah, we're on the way to the hospital, and I'm going to go and try and get things going there. They highly recommend it. They want to monitor me. Ross gets to go to work. His parents don't have to stress about me. Yes, I'll be taken care of over there. Baby is just moving as we speak, so I think he approves. I don't feel like I need to go in, and this was not in the birth plan. Like, this is not what I had planned, but they said that I should because I'm in active labor and they want to monitor. And the taxis take a long time to get to us now, we discovered, in our apartments. I'm not really feeling anything though. So I'm thinking that maybe it'll come on hard and fast, and then I might be in trouble. So anyway, how are you feeling?
Nervous, excited.
I'm not thinking about the end goal just yet. I'm taking it step by step because you just don't know what's gonna happen, you know? So yeah, alright.
So we're gonna check her in at the hospital, then I'm gonna go off to work because I get 5 days paternity. So I wanna make sure that I make the most of it with the baby.
I've never heard of somebody being asked to come into the hospital. I've heard of people begging to be admitted and being sent home, but I've never been asked. I've never heard of people asking to go home and the hospital saying, please stay. They actually made me sign a form saying that I'm choosing to leave because they were like, no, you should stay. So that's weird. Like, it's all very weird. Anyway. Admitted me to the hospital, and when I was there in the labor ward, somebody came in, a nurse came in, and she was like, all right, so we're gonna break your waters now and then start you on your medicine.
I think that was as soon as I left for work. They were like, okay,
yeah,
we're gonna break your waters. And Kim was like, no, you're not.
I was like, no, I'm not here to have my waters broken or anything. Like, I'm just here to, because I was told that I'm in active labor, so that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So I was in the birthing ward for a few hours, and then they were like, we're gonna move you to the other ward, which is like actually the recovery ward. They were like, because nothing's happening. just got real. Hey. This is the ceiling now. And we turned off the music. And then actually still they have like little amenities. How cute. So I just got my antibiotics and now I have breakfast. I won't be having the toast, but we have some almond milk with some oatmeal. And this is, I can never say it, but it's called full madamas. Like it's like beans and it's garlicky and lemony. I really like it. And then an omelette and chamomile tea. So actually looks really good. And you could choose from a menu of options. Oh, and I have this ball which I've been bouncing on. Bounced on the ball for about 15 minutes. And then I slept, well I ate, slept for a few minutes. Now I'm just kind of standing around. This is the ceiling now. So they moved me to the recovery ward where I was just sitting bored. And they were monitoring me every hour because I said I wanted intermittent monitoring. And I was still in active labor. Like I was still 4 centimeters dilated, having regular contractions. Like every 4 or 5 minutes, I was having contractions.
Like I went to work for 10 hours, and then when I came back to the hospital, because I was planning to go to work for that day to make sure that my paternity leave lasted until the baby was born at least. So I planned to go to work that day, come back to the hospital, and hopefully things have gotten started. But when I came to the hospital, everything was exactly the same.
I was just chilling and bored.
Yeah.
How's it, guys? So I just got to the hospital after my day of work, and I brought Kimberly everything she needs. It's a bit chemical smell in the room.
That's been the worst part of the whole thing, the whole labor. Is the chemicals in the room.
Yeah, which
is
is completely understandable. I mean, what these sheets have to go through, obviously they wash it with harsh chemicals. But I brought sheets from our bed, duvet from our bed, everything from our bed, natural, organic washing powder and everything. And also some cleaning stuff, natural cleaning stuff to make you feel more at home.
Yeah.
And how's it been so far?
Really boring. I never thought that labor and boring went together. But yeah, like I haven't really had pain. Other than when they're monitoring me and I have to lay down, then I feel the pain. I can feel the contractions. But if I'm sitting up or like doing my thing, I'm not feeling it. I have contractions almost every 5 minutes. And yeah, I don't know how dilated I am. This morning early I was 4 centimeters.
And they say that when you get to 5, that's when it will probably speed up, right?
I think I'm probably at 5 now because I'm getting very regular contractions. I'm not sure. We'll have to
Inshallah, as we say in this country.
Inshallah.
And then what are you eating here? It looks delicious. I think your mother-in-law got you that, huh?
Thank you very much for that. Pineapple.
And is it nice?
To soften the cervix more, but apparently it's very soft. Like the cervix is very soft.
Yeah, I think you've eaten maybe 1 pineapple every day, so that's probably why it's soft. With some dates on the side as well, which is also softens the cervix.
And I took castor oil this morning. Castor oil. And
So we've done everything we need to do to get this baby out. So now it's just about waiting and letting it do its stuff. The little baby boy needs to find his way out.
do you want to show yourself?
Yeah, here I am, guys. I know I look fresh because I went home. I bathed, got ready, and yeah, I drove here. The traffic was quite hectic, as it always is in Dubai. But I'm glad I'm here so I cannot miss this baby being born. And I will be here until the baby comes out. So it's exciting stuff. Let's do a quick tour of the room. So we'll start at the entrance. So as we come in,
We have nice, beautiful decorated grass on the wall, so it makes it like a bit of a serene area. You got your wash-up area over here for the nurses that come in with their gloves. You got some short storage space over here, which I don't think we'll use. We're not here for a month, hopefully not. And then over here we got the little baby cot, if it gets born here, but I doubt it because
No, it doesn't get born here. This is like the recovery room.
So
The
this.
baby sleeps next to you in that thing.
Okay, so the baby sleeps next to you in that thing. So here you got your basically your table, so you can eat dinner, as well next to also some more storage space. You've got the monitor that checks the baby's heartbeat. Then you have a nice little bed over here that you're gonna sleep in tonight. And what are you wearing today?
I have a special hospital gown. It's from Kim Did Bravely, and it comes apart in all the necessary places. And you can breastfeed. It has like breastfeeding buttons. It has epidural thing, which hopefully we won't need at the back. So, and it's super comfortable, like super soft and comfy. It's amazing.
That's just
It's
amazing.
like a lifesaver already.
And then we got my bed for the night, which looks like at the bottom it's like a lazy boy, so this pops out. I don't know yet, I haven't explored yet.
But you might be sleeping in the other room. If I'm like about to give birth, we go to another room where there's like stars on the ceiling and everything, and he will have an actual bed, like it's a single bed there.
And
Yeah.
speaking about the ceiling, so we've got, it's sunny every day, every hour in this room, because you got a beautiful sunny sky over there. And then over here we got some really nice flowers. And this is our view from the room, which it's quite dark outside, so you can't see much. We'll show you that in the morning.
It's dusty today.
Then we have another chair over there for the grandparents of the child who are here visiting us, my mom and dad. And we've got some more storage space, as well as a fridge where you got your orange juice, organic orange juice in there, and a nice TV with Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Very good. So that's the tour of the room. What do you think of Kim's dance moves, guys? There we go. If you're my baby mama, put it on, I'll put it on, yeah. Down, down, down low. Drop it down, low. Drop. I think Kim thinks she had a baby already. She's really enjoying putting the towel to sleep while the nurse comes in behind her. How's it, guys? So we're back now in the doctor's room. We just did 3 whole legs around the hospital.
On a
Very-
sunny day.
Very, very proud of you, Kimmy.
A little bit frazzled from this morning's ordeal.
Yeah, she had to put the antibiotics in, but it wasn't going in because of her veins. So there was a bit of trauma to that linked to her illness. So now it's the daytime, so I'll show you guys the view. I know I didn't show you yet. I showed you last night, but you couldn't see much. It's very green here, really beautiful. This is where,
Not so green.
yeah, this is construction site. This is all gonna go up very
It's a
soon.
camel racing track, the one area.
Yeah, this is a camel racing track, but in front there, it will all go up into probably buildings or villas like that. This is the top performing property investment place, probably in Dubai. It's really, really beautiful. Lots of expats here. And yeah, this is where we are staying until little baby H is born.
Yay.
Anything else you want to say?
Tired.
Tired.
Tired from mountain.
I mean, we had so many different doctors come in and say like, no, it's not safe to leave. You cannot leave. So we stayed the night. I stayed on the pull-up couch and Kim stayed in the bed.
Waiting for something to happen. Walking outside the hospital, trying to get it going.
And I think over that night, I think around 2 different people came in to ask if we wanted the waters to be broken.
They kept pressuring, yeah.
So that environment, I mean, no matter how nice the hospital is, it's still a hospital. It's not your home. So that whole environment created a very tense environment for Kim, for the baby. So
Constant monitoring, constant pressuring. Contractions were stronger actually this morning, but I think more regular now. I think. Someone had an early morning this morning. Baby?
Yeah.
Are you gonna put the bottles down?
Yeah, eventually. Quite comfortable. Quite comfortable at this time. Like this, Okay.
Woo!
Enough entertainment for you. It's time to sleep for you.
That was not entertainment for me. That was like genuine tiredness.
Still got some time to go, eh? Can you not lie down while you have that antibiotic?
I guess I could. Night. I didn't realize that you could be in active labor and not even feel it. But when they were putting the monitor on me, this is something that I really wanted to stress in this video and make known, is that when they put the monitor on me to measure the contractions and they lay me down, I started to feel the contractions. So I think it's more painful if you have the monitor on you. So if you're in hospital in labor and you have that monitor on you consistently and you're laying down, your contractions are going to be more painful, because I could feel them and they were pretty painful when I was doing that. But then when I was sitting up and not doing, and just like doing my own thing, I wasn't feeling them at all. So I wanted to make that known as well. Some people will be like, oh, I was in labor for 3 days and my contractions were so bad, but they're bad. When the monitor strapped you tightly and you're laying back, your contractions will feel like pretty sore. So, and then if you're moving around, it won't. So I just wanted to say that. And then eventually, after so many opinions, after people telling me you're in active labor, you're this, you're that, like you have to stay, and just basically scaring us
We wanted to pull our hair out. We were just like, what is going on?
Yeah, I didn't understand, you know?
Because the truth is, no one knows. No one knows.
No one knows.
The only thing that knows is that little baby inside of you. What's going on?
And kind of you, if you tune into your body, because a midwife came in, this like life-saving midwife. I don't know where she came from. She was an angel from heaven. And she said, I've been seeing your name on the list as somebody who's been admitted, and I've been meaning to come and talk to you since yesterday, but I've been so busy. But I really want to say this. You're not in active labor. And I was like, what? She was like, girl, if you were in active labor, you wouldn't be sitting here just chilling, talking to me right now. You would be pausing, you would be doing something, but you would not just be sitting here talking to me. That's not how active labor looks. And then I was like, thank you. That's what I thought. Why am I here? And she was like, just so you know, we are a hospital. We are here to deliver babies. We are not here to give you your natural experience where you're peaceful and your baby comes naturally. That is for the home. Come in when you are feeling like your baby is coming. If you were telling me you have pain in your butt and pressure in your butt, then I would be like, okay, maybe you should stay. But you're not telling me anything like that. You're not even telling me you're in pain. So come in at least when you feel something. And I was like, thank you. And she was like, I saw your birth plan. I saw you want things to go naturally. It's not going to be happening here. So go home and do it there. And we were advised to make the environment as conducive to giving birth as possible. And if you look at any animal in the wild, when they're giving birth, they go off somewhere to be alone, and they're just like quiet and in peace and in their own zone. And maybe, I don't know if they're partners with them, I don't know, I don't think so actually, animals. Now, obviously we are a little bit different because we have a frontal cortex, so humans are different to animals, but we have still these primal instincts. We still have the same parts of the brain as animals. But that's what they'll do. If you watch them, they go off on their own and they get into their zone and they do their thing. And I really felt like I needed my space. You know, we had our parents here in a small 1-bedroom apartment. I needed just like the space, the quiet, the peace, the serenity, the tranquility, and just like get into my zone. And so that's what we did. We came home. And they said, if you go home, you have to come in every day to be monitored. You have to come in, we're gonna monitor the baby. So I was like, okay. So we went home that night. We were finally discharged. And we came home and we asked the parents to go and get a hotel. So we needed that. That's something that we needed. So this is also a message. You need to set your boundaries. You need to be able to state your needs. If you're giving birth, that is the most important thing, the safety of yourself and your child, and a pleasant delivery. You know, sometimes it's external factors that are stopping the baby from coming. Sometimes, you know, there's a stressor, an external stressor, or you don't feel like you're comfortable or in your own space completely 100%, you know. These all need to be considered. So we wanted to give it our best shot. So we came home, we had so many dates, so many pineapples, we curb walked, we did everything.
I'm surprised the baby did not come out like a pineapple, because the amount of pineapples that I've fed Kim.
Yeah.
And that's probably why her cervix was so soft.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it contributed. And we walked and we walked and we walked. Even though I was like so breathless and so heavy, we walked and walked and walked.
Okay guys, so this is another way that we want to try bring the baby down. It's called curb walking. I'm sure people know what it is. Basically 1 foot on the pavement and 1 foot on the road. So Kimberly is doing some curb walking at the moment. Excuse my voice. I have a little bit of a flu or a cold. And then we got the Burj Khalifa, which is lit up like the UAE flag.
Tallest building in the world.
It's the tallest building in the world, and now it's got the UAE flag on because it's National Flag Day in the UAE. As you can see, the red, white, and then green in the right hand side there.
I'm getting birth tomorrow! Like a pretty big stage.
What do you have to say about this party?
I want to go.
Okay, a pregnant woman wants to go. Party.
And long story short, 2 days later, the baby still wasn't here. And they had told us that we had to have an action plan. So they told us that we had to schedule an induction. So we scheduled one for the 4th of November. We scheduled, but we had to go in and check. Up until then, we had to go in and get the baby checked. So the 3rd of November, they said we can come any time of the day to check. So we decided to go in the evening on the 3rd of November. We went into the hospital to check on the baby. I was very confident that he was fine. I felt him moving around like normal. Everything felt completely normal. Went in to have him checked. They put me on the monitor. Came in to check before tomorrow morning when we come in for the induction, as instructed. Baby looks happy apparently, but contractions are quite intense. Still not really feeling them though. Trying to have a look. There's one that looks like the Burj Khalifa.
Which, for those who don't know, that is the tallest building in the world. So, which is that first one right over there. It literally went off the lines. So yeah, it's quite
They're quite regular.
They're very regular actually. So yeah, but without the machine, do you feel the contractions?
Like only ever so slightly. I feel squeezing, but nothing like significant, like nothing to get my attention.
So how do you feel about tomorrow?
Overwhelmed. is the only word, because I can't imagine what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, I don't know. And I can't imagine the feeling of seeing a baby. Like, it's something I've thought about all my life, but like, I never thought it would actually happen, you know? Like, I don't know how to explain. Like, when the moment comes, it's obviously not going to be what you thought. So I don't know what to think.
And we're close to 42 weeks now, right?
I don't know, because I have 2 due dates.
Yeah,
I
so-
really don't know what I am.
But yeah, the baby's been in there for quite some time and he's still a very happy and healthy baby, which is the most important thing. And I can't believe we're gonna see our baby in the next day or 2. Excited, right?
I'm so excited. I'm scared for tomorrow. And she said, I'm going to keep you on the monitor a little bit longer. Everything looks good, but I'm just going to keep you on the monitor a little bit longer. I was sitting there for an hour on the monitor thinking,
yeah, we were both very confused.
what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
has she forgotten about me? She came in and she said, I haven't forgotten about you. I just didn't want to scare you. But I was on the phone to the doctor because there is something a bit abnormal. On the monitor, the baby's heart rate keeps on dropping. So I needed the doctor's opinion. So the baby's heart rate was dropping. They needed the doctor's opinion. And the doctor's opinion was that I could not go home. We had to get the baby out, right?
Yep. And obviously we're not going to take a risk when it comes to the health of the baby.
That was a no-brainer.
So we
Yeah.
decided to just listen to exactly what they had to say. And I went off to quickly go fetch the bags. 20-minute drive there, 20-minute drive back.
I actually asked her, do we have time? And she said, how far do you live? And I was like, 20 minutes. She was like, no, you don't have 40 minutes. And I was like...
But I went anyway because we
Yeah.
needed our stuff. So anyway, I managed to get back before even the water was broken. So,
Yeah.
And I was there the whole time watching every single little thing.
So they admitted me. I went into the labor ward. I had a midwife with me and they broke my waters. So I told them I don't want Pitocin yet. I just want my waters broken because I knew that things would progress quickly as soon as my waters break. Because, you know, I was in labor. Well, debatable, but I was in active labor apparently. 4 centimeters dilated, 75% effaced. I was 75% effaced at this point. So that means I was like very soft and very thin in my cervix. So they broke my waters. And that was when Ross was already back with everything.
Yeah.
You saw what happened,
I
right?
watched it.
You watched it. They broke my waters, and after that, I went from 4 centimeters to 6 centimeters
Within
to
1 hour.
10 centimeters. Yeah, 6 centimeters in 1 hour.
And then 1 hour later, she was fully dilated.
10 centimeters dilated, yeah.
So yeah, it took about 2 hours from 4 centimeters to fully dilated, ready for action. So yeah, that went very quickly.
Yeah, so I didn't want any epidural, just remember. But going from 4 to 10 centimeters in 2 hours, let me tell you.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
Woo! Okay, so let's talk about this, the pain, because I don't really remember it. Like, people say you forget, but you really do forget. Like, what the hell? But I do know that there was no question in my mind that I needed the epidural. This was not even a question. I just knew. I was like, okay, I need the epidural. Like, even though I didn't want to get it, I was just like, I'm getting it.
So I remember everything. So because obviously I didn't go through the pain, but every time the pain hit, all I heard was, this is completely unacceptable. And I said, who's it unacceptable with? She just kept saying, this is completely unacceptable. I cannot do this without the epidural. Get this epidural in my back now.
Hi, if you've been induced or your water's broken and you've dilated that quickly, you know.
I've never seen Kim's face go like that in my life.
What was my face like?
It went completely, like you looked straight through me. Like, honestly, you looked almost like you were about to puke on me. You looked straight through me. Your face was white. you were actually shaking a little bit. So I was like, okay, this is not good. So actually, this is the first time I was like, oh my God, she said she wants epidural. I thought she would never ask for it. Because
You
Kim
didn't
is,
think I would ask.
because Kim is extremely stubborn when it comes to this. But honestly, when she started saying this is completely unacceptable, I need the epidural, then I was like, okay, this is gonna happen.
Yeah, so what I remember is the contractions, they came on hard and fast, like really, really, really fast, quickly. It like progressed very quickly. But I just remember it being an absolute heaviness. And it felt like, people say it feels like a bad period. It didn't feel like that to me, let me tell you. That's how it felt when I was like 4 centimeters dilated, maybe, with the monitor on. But it felt like bones, heavy bones, grinding on each other. That's how it felt to me. It felt like they were like heavy, massive bones grinding on each other. And just an extreme heaviness. And, it's hard to explain, but it was so painful. I don't know if you can call it pain, but it was so extreme that I needed to vomit. So every time a contraction came, I was asking her for like a vomit bucket because it was like making me want to vomit. And it was like a pulling down, a heaviness, and like felt like bones grinding. Pain, like bones grinding, if I remember correctly. And then just, you cannot stay in your body. Like you cannot stay in.
She definitely left her body.
I was not there.
She was not there. I saw her eyes; they were completely gone. You know.
Yeah, they gave me the gas and air, and that helped. And I know that the books I read said don't fear contractions, but it's impossible when they're like that. But you will fear it.
I think when you go into when they actually break your water, that is, like you said, like it gets different. A lot more severe.
Yeah.
Especially going from 4 to fully dilated within 2 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Because like the nurse was like to me, just go lie down, relax, it'll take some time. And with 2 hours, it was fully dilated.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So I got the epidural, okay, so I did get the epidural, and that was absolutely fine. That was all fine. I had been taking gas and air before that to help with the contractions. And by the way, it does actually help take the edge off. Pretty cool, but still like unacceptable. That
gas and air thing just reminds me of the teen pregnancies. The series.
Yeah.
The teen
what is it called? One born every minute.
One every minute.
Yeah. Anyway, so did it remind you of that when I was in?
Yeah. I just obviously didn't want to make any jokes there.
Yeah. Anyway, I would definitely wouldn't have laughed, but I think I was pretty well behaved though.
Yeah, you were. I mean, I think if we let the contractions go a bit more, I think you would have gotten out of control. Honestly.
Was I making a noise?
Yes, you were eventually. And when we got the epidural, and it took, I think, around maybe 4 or 5 contractions before it actually kicked in.
That's pretty quick though.
Not before it kicked in, but while they were threading the needle through and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that took some time. So she had at least another 6 to 7 contractions left. And so each one, she was just like squeezing my hands until they were broken, pulling on that gas. So it was quite an experience, that first part.
Ooh, I just like got a wave of memory. This is why we forget conveniently, because it's traumatic. Anyway, but that's not where the trauma.
It gets worse from
that's
there.
not the trauma.
Yeah, gets worse from there.
Yeah. So I remember the anesthesiologist coming in, and I asked, did you have epidural without fentanyl? Because this was important to me, because everybody's like, fentanyl's toxic. So I was like, do you have something without fentanyl? She's like, we do, but it's not going to take the pain away like the one with fentanyl. And I was like, okay, just give me the fentanyl, like literally.
Just give it to me pure, just inject
give me
it
the
in me.
fentanyl, I don't care. So anyway, I'm glad I did this, because you'll see why it's coming up, because it's a good thing that I took the epidural and I took the one with fentanyl. It's a good thing. Okay, so then.
So what's about to happen, baby?
I'm gonna break my water.
Oh.
And then the action's ready.
You're gonna get the show on the road, huh?
I'm not scared for this part. I'm scared for what's to follow after that. Really?
Yeah.
It's right there.
Right here. Not yet.
Oh my god. Careful with this little head.
Oh, don't worry.
It makes me want to protect him. He's kicking up here.
Proud of you.
Yeah, I can feel like vibrating. Oh, I can feel draining. Yeah. Oh, I feel draining.
So I've got my hands in there because I do not want. I just want the water coming slowly.
Okay, great. I can feel it coming. That's so weird.
Your water's broken.
Yeah. That feels so weird. Oh my god.
I'm going to give you a gentle sweep.
I had a membrane sweep, by the way. Yeah.
Because I think that has been quite helpful because it
Yeah.
seems it's really soft
Okay.
and very flavorable.
Okay, great. So I'm just laying flat because they said sometimes the cord can come out. I'm actually having contraction as I speak and it's quite strong at the moment because they've ruptured the waters. I'm laying flat for a bit and yeah, the contractions are starting to get stronger. I can actually feel that.
Oh, it's coming.
And I think he'll be here very soon because they want to get him out as soon as possible. So I think he'll be here very soon.
We're
I'm
so
feeling like-
excited, but so nervous and so scared and so many different emotions.
Yeah, I'm gonna start like some of the hypnotherapy recordings now and like some calming recordings and maybe like music and stuff and hope for the best. And then I hope that I'll be able to like sit up and stuff eventually because it feels better when I sit up, to be honest.
I just want to let you know that they just ruptured her waters and they did so many different things and she did not flinch. So I'm pretty scared of my wife at this moment. She doesn't have any pain.
I have some now.
She's literally like cruising through this. I'm so proud of her and I'm so proud of my little baby coming very soon and I can't wait. Yay!
Moving through all the muscles in your body. The muscles relaxing. You may feel so deeply relaxed that it's just easier to let go. Letting go even of the effort it takes to think, my words coming and then going deep into your unconscious, where any suggestions take root, preparing you for the gentle, positive, confident birth.
So the contractions got unacceptably intense. Like it was actually traumatizing. I think I'm having one now, just based on the waters flowing out. Like a lot of water has flown out of me, and I was not in my body. Like I was literally somewhere else during those contractions. Like I couldn't see anything. I couldn't hear anything. It was bad, like really bad. So I took the epidural. I caved. No, I had to because I want to be present. I want to be able to see the baby. I want to be able to just, be present basically. And I wasn't present. So I'm happy that I took it. And now hopefully it'll be a peaceful journey. I'm like shaking a bit, sorry. Hopefully it'll be peaceful. So, Russ, I think you should like record just after this experience what exactly I was looking like during those contractions.
Okay, so guys, this is something I need to sit down for. So, it was intense. I mean, watching that go down like in front of me, I mean, it probably happened for 45 minutes to 1 hour. Maybe even longer, but like the look on Kim's face, like I obviously had to just say everything's gonna be alright, don't worry about it, but I could see she was not in her body, she was not the same. I never seen Kim like that in my life. So yeah, that was a bit traumatized. In the back of my head I was thinking, I really hope she's not going to be stubborn with this epidural. And it came out of her mouth. I didn't ask her to take it. She said to me, I want the epidural. And I got quickly up and I got the midwife, and within the space of I think 15 minutes to 20 minutes it was in her, and now she is a lot more relaxed and it's going to be a much better experience.
I'm back inside my body. Yay! I'm back inside my body. I was out. I don't know where I went, but I went to another universe.
It was unbelievable. I don't know how women do this without an epidural.
No, if somebody does this without an epidural, like they are superhuman. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So yeah.
But I think inductions are harder. Like it comes hard and fast with inductions. Like I didn't have much time between contractions. It was coming like fast and really hard. So yeah.
But just explain the pain, because maybe you'll forget it by tomorrow when the baby is in your arms.
Can't explain it. Like it's the type of pain that makes you go to another place. Like it can't be explained, because
It's a type of pain that is so bad that you don't want to feel it, you don't want to hear it, you don't want to be it, right?
like you don't really have a choice.
So
like
you go to another
naturally-
place, so you don't.
naturally- Yeah.
Wow.
It's unacceptable. Like
All I can say is thank God I'm a male.
yeah,
But you are doing amazingly, and we are also proud of you. Me,
and my eyes are open again.
Baby H, and all the grandparents are so proud of you.
Aw,
Go, baby.
yay! Thank you. The epidural kicked in pretty quickly. I was really happy about it. It was good, but I was still very anxious because his heart rate was still dropping, and that was still a factor, and they were still concerned.
And I could see the monitor the whole time, so I could see how it was dropping and going up and dropping.
Yeah.
So I was like panicking, and obviously I didn't want to panic. Kimberly.
Sometimes I looked, yeah.
So
basically, when she came to me and she told me that I was 10 centimeters dilated and that I needed to start pushing, this was not on my birth plan. I didn't want to push. I wanted to let the baby come down naturally. I wanted him to, when I was 10 centimeters, I wanted to wait, so that he would come down naturally. I didn't want to force and push it out. But that went out the window because his heart rate was dropping and it was really concerning. So we needed to get him out as soon as possible. So that's why I was like, okay, let's get the show on the road, let's start pushing. And I was under the impression that he would come out really quickly. So I started pushing, and the first few pushes she was telling me I was doing really well. I remember her telling me, you're a diva. She was like, you're a diva. And my first pushes, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm so good at this, woo.
With each pressure you feel, I need you to take a deep breath in.
Okay.
Hold the breath and then let it out through the waist.
Okay.
You know what you did before
Yes.
or right now?
Should I breathe out or just push without
Push
breathing?
Without breathing.
Okay. Ooh, I'm nervous now. Excited.
I know.
So I pushed and I said to her, can you see anything yet? And she laughed. She was like, no, we're not anywhere near there yet. We're just pushing to get him a bit further down. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought it took a few pushes and then he would be out. But anyway, so what time was it now? 12 o'clock, midnight. I think it was midnight.
I think it was around 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I think 1 o'clock, because it was, yeah.
So 1 o'clock, yeah?
Yeah.
And I was pushing. And I didn't really know how to push. I hadn't done any classes, hadn't read anything about it, nothing. But basically she said, push like you're making a poo, push into your butt, and arch your back a bit, because I was lifting my pelvis up. I just felt like I needed to, but apparently you're not supposed to do that. And chin on chest and push down without making a noise. You're not supposed to make a noise.
Long, hard push. Take a deep breath in and hold it in. Great job. One more. Good job. Good job.
I feel like pressure in my head.
Okay, so
Pushing.
yeah. So now I don't want you to feel that pressure in your head.
Focus it here. Yeah, okay.
You're doing so well.
Yeah, amazingly, baby.
Okay, so I'm doing the right thing.
Of course.
Does the baby still have to move? Or move down this, like this?
Only that much? Oh my god.
Hey, you there?
Oh my god. Oh, I'm starting to feel emotional.
You're gonna save me soon.
Okay.
You feel the pressure?
Yeah, I can.
Let's go. He's also trying to pass that groove.
Okay.
You're working together.
So that's what I was doing for a very long time and nothing was happening.
6 hours to be exact. 6 to 7 hours.
So I eventually pushed for 7 hours. But what was she doing that whole time? She was like warning me. She's like, you have 1 more hour to push and then we're going to have to intervene. And then she was offering me Pitocin and I was like, no, I don't want to take the Pitocin. And then she was like, I recommend you take it. And I was like, only if it's an emergency, I'll take it.
Every around 20 minutes to like 25 minutes, she kept on coming in. And then she would wait for the contraction, and then Kim would start pushing and pushing and pushing, and then she would leave, and then she would come back.
Yeah.
So this is what she was doing for a good 6 to 7 hours. And we honestly, after the 5th hour, we were like, what is going on?
What's happening? Nobody was telling us. She was like super calm, like super
The whole
super
time
calm.
she was super calm, yeah.
But I saw her looking at the monitor a lot, like at the contractions, and then taking it to be like evaluated by the doctor or something.
Yeah.
She would take it away and then it would be evaluated.
You're doing so well.
So now it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, I think. She was like, Kimberly, I really recommend you start the Pitocin because you've been pushing for a very long time. His heart rate, as you know, like is dropping and we need
And
to
he's
get
getting
him
weak.
out. Is that what she said?
Yeah, she said he's starting to get weak. Also, you are also starting to get weak from all the pushing.
I was really,
Because it was
like,
7 hours of brutal workouts,
Yeah.
I would say. You know?
Yeah, and I was getting like really hot and sweaty and pouring like water all over myself, and pushing is no joke, you know, like if you've done it, you know, it's no joke.
Yeah, it was extreme. I mean, watching Kim do that, it was like watching like the world's most hectic workouts happening on.
And my contractions were really short. That was another thing, because usually when you push for a while because your contraction goes for a while, but mine were very short. So I wasn't able to push for very long at all. So I was just pushing through like pretty short contractions. So that was another thing. And then she kept telling me that there's like a bump in the inside there that he needs to get over. He needs to get over that hump, and he keeps going back. He keeps going back. So I was like, okay, we need to get him over the hump. So I just like try to keep pushing until he gets over that hump, but it just never happened. So eventually she said, we got to start you on Pitocin. So I was like, okay, let's do a small dose. Dose. Because I didn't know we were like in a bad situation, you know? And then she was like, phew, I could see she was relieved that I finally accepted. And then she put Pitocin, obviously she put it through my IV. And then I started pushing again with the Pitocin contractions. And at one stage, and interrupt me if I'm forgetting anything, but at one stage she said to me, I'm just gonna go out for a bit, out of the room. You just relax for a bit. I'm just gonna go out of the room.
Yeah, at this stage, she was going to do the shift changeover. That's what she said to us.
Is that what she told us?
She said, I'm going to go out the room to do the shift changeover, but don't worry. because it was 7:30 or something, so all the early shifts were coming in. She said, don't worry, I'm going to come back straight afterwards and we're going to continue and we're going to get this little baby out. So it like reassured us, and then she left, and then like a lot of commotion happened.
Then all of a sudden,
Shit hit the fan.
there were like 10 people in our room. My doctor came in like the most frantic, serious, like emergency mode. The head midwife was there. The head midwife came to me and she was like, right, show me how you're pushing. And then I pushed and she was like, no. She was like, you need to push for 14 seconds. 1 and 2 and 3 and 14 seconds. She's like, head on, chin on chest, and no sound. Don't make any sound.
Like military.
She was like really serious. She's like, do it, show me how you do it. And then I was like doing it, and she was like, no, harder. That was actually before the doctor came in. That she came in before the doctor, and then everybody else rushed in while she was coaching me. The doctor sat on the chair. I just remember like all these people coming in. Doctor sat on the chair. She said, what's the dose of Pitocin? And then they told her, and she's like, up the dose. And then she put on like these gloves, like in like a very serious manner. Next thing, I look down and she's just like fully inside of me.
Do you want me to take it from here? Because
no, because just one more thing. Okay, I'm just gonna say it how I remember it, okay? And then you can say how you remember it. Because for me, it's broken memory. Like for me, it's like I was so exhausted and it was so traumatic that it's like broken memory. So she came in and she said, she looked me in the face, like dead serious. And she was like, Kimberly, I need you to push like your life depends on it. You have 5 minutes. And the head midwife went outside and she was like, we need an anesthetist. We have 5 minutes. We need an anesthetist on standby. She was like, you have 5 minutes. Push like your life depends on it. Do you hear me? And I was like, okay. Like I was like, what is going on? In that moment, I was like, we could lose our baby. If they're telling you to push like your life depends on it, like I'm pretty sure somebody's life depends on it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, what the hell? And all I remember is that my animalistic instincts kicked in. It makes me emotional. Sorry. Whew. I became like an animal, and she said I mustn't make a noise, but I needed to. Like I was screaming like a freaking bear. Like I was like, and I was pushing like my life depended on it. It was so emotional because I thought I might lose my baby if I didn't push for my life, you know? Anyway. Oh.
But let's just say this here, that we probably wouldn't have lost our baby. It just would have been an emergency C-section, which is something that we didn't want, just like everything else.
But I think he was also in danger because they gave it 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
He was going to be fine, do you think?
He was going to be fine. It just they gave it 5 minutes because they wanted to give Kim at least something from her birth plan.
But we didn't know. We didn't know what was going on. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like
we were up. We were completely in the dark the whole time. However, so I'll just tell you the way I saw it from my side. So basically, I saw everyone come in. Everyone was shouting and screaming around Kimberly. The midwife did not return. The one that we had the whole night, she was meant to return. She did not come back.
no.
So I think they just told her to just stay away. They're going to handle it from here because we had the head midwife, we had the doctors, we had probably the best nurses in the hospital. So basically now we had the A team in the ward because they really wanted to get the baby out naturally for Kimberly's sake, for the baby's sake, and they needed to get the baby out right.
And he was almost out. Apparently his head was like right there. If they felt up, it was like really like right there. Yeah.
So they asked the nurse to get the vacuums. Okay, so the nurse came out with 3 different vacuums, one small one medium one, and one massive one that you can plunge probably the biggest toilets. So she decided to go for the medium one, okay? And she literally just completely...
The medium or the large one?
She didn't go for the large one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And she went really up close and personal to where the exit was for the baby. And I've never seen
was
someone
there.
so close, like right there, you know.
Like here the Exodus and here she is.
Yeah,
like,
so she meant business, and you can see she had the gloves on. She had all of the operational equipment right in front of her. The nurse was holding. She took the vacuum, she put it right inside, and she said, "Now, Kim, you need to push for your life."
Wait, was I slit open at that point?
No.
Oh, okay.
Now, Kim, you need to push for your life. So Kim was pushing like an animal, honestly. It was like an animalistic experience. I feel like I was watching the Animal Channel. And she was pushing...
National Geographic.
National Geographic, yeah, exactly. So she was pushing for her life, and the doctor went right inside there with this vacuum. And it was a big vacuum. So I was like, I don't know how that thing fits in there. And she managed to really walk her way around the area to find the baby's head. She got it on the baby's head, and she said, "Now, Kim, I'm going to give you 3 seconds, and you need to push as soon as I pull." So Kim was pushing for her life. She was pulling for her life. And what happened is the vacuum came unstuck from the baby's head.
And I want to say, while I was pushing, everyone in the room was screaming at me like it was like a match, like some sort of sports match. They were like, "Go, go, go, chin on chest, into your butt, push, 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 Kimberly, yes, Kimberly, push." They were all of them from all angles screaming like I was like running like the biggest race of my life. And I was just like, oh my God, this is serious. And it was, oh my God, it was just too much. Like,
and when the head got released from the vacuum, that was when my heart sunk. That was when I was like, okay, now it's emergency C-section time. The baby's now already had a vacuum on his head. He's been pushing for 7 hours. What's going to happen to our baby? Like, I don't know what's going to happen to our baby. And she said, "We're going to do this one more time, then we're going to go to C-section." I was like, thank God, we have another chance. Let's go. I was like, come on, baby H.E., come on, you got this. And I said, come on, Kimmy, you had this. I was pulling her hand, and I was like, you have to push your heart out here. So she went inside again, but this time she slit from side to side, up, down, everywhere. It was like I don't know, it was like, what's that movie that you watch with all the killing and stuff like that?
I don't know.
It was honestly like, oh, there was just so much going on. There was slits everywhere, and then she got inside and she
had an episiotomy, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she got really inside there, and she really got the head stuck this time on this vacuum, and she pulled for her life. She was pulling like I honestly thought, I was very scared for the baby, because like you got a force of something pulling you like this, but you also are stuck in there. It's like, surely that's going to hurt the neck. I was
It's
like,
traumatizing.
I didn't know what to think. I just wanted to tell the doctor, stop, let's go to the emergency C-section, please. We need the baby to be safe. And it released again. The vacuum released again, and I was like, oh my God. And then she shouted, "There's the head!" And I looked down and I just saw the head sticking out, and I just said, "Kim, push!" And she pushed for her dear life, and there came the baby, and the doctor literally put her full arms inside there, grabbed the baby and pulled it out. And when the baby came out, the reason why it took so long, the reason why it wasn't coming out so easy, it had the cord wrapped around its neck.
Yeah, the cord had been pulling it back. Every time I was pushing, he was pulling back.
And the baby, they put the baby on Kimberly's stomach while they were unwrapping the cord, and I dropped to my knees. I've never been this emotional in my whole life. I dropped to my knees.
I remember that.
I was bawling my eyes out, and unfortunately the whole time I was videoing, I didn't get this last part in because it was an emergency and stuff like that. But there was just blood everywhere, and he was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And everyone kept on telling me, if you have a vacuum, the baby comes out with an alien head. This baby had the most perfect head I've ever seen. It was more perfect than any other baby's head I've ever seen.
I just remember him wailing. He was like wailing. I've never seen him like even cry before. Like, never mind wailing. He was wailing, and he was like, he's beautiful. And I looked at him, and his face was like so emotional. And I was just like in absolute shock and exhaustion. Like, I was so exhausted and so shocked. And not able to even focus on anything. I was just like, what's going on? But also very relieved. I remember I just felt so relieved that the baby was out.
We put the baby on Kimberly's chest, and she didn't know what was going on. She was like completely like outside somewhere. But while they were doing that, they were obviously removing the afterbirth and stuff like that.
And actually I remember, because I had to get the placenta out, and because I was slit all over, they had to do it quickly because they had to like stitch me up and all of that. Obviously I was like really injured down there, so I just remember my whole stomach going boop, 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 like shaking. And I thought that I was hemorrhaging because it was like dush, 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 dush. My stomach was shaking like that uncontrollably. And I looked at my stomach and it was going like this. And I had the baby like crying. And I was like, what is going on? Am I hemorrhaging? Like, what is going on? And it was actually the placenta coming out. They were trying, I think they were pulling it out or something. I don't know what was going on. But
yeah. I looked at that. I don't know why, but I keep on looking at the most traumatizing things. But I looked down there while that was happening, and oh my God.
What was it?
Blood and guts? I just wish I never did.
Oh my God, what was there?
It's just blood and things coming out. I think the afterbirth and stuff like that. So yeah, after that, I was just like, oh my God, like I'm just happy that the baby is safe. The baby is happy. Kim is safe. There was nothing wrong with her. There was nothing wrong with Kim after all this slitting and after all this pushing and I was like very thankful, and like honestly, we couldn't have asked for a better looking baby. I was like, what? I mean, he had 2 vacuums on his head. He was being pushing for 7 hours, and he came out with a perfect head, and the head has not changed.
Yeah.
There's no change to his head. I mean, it's still perfect, as you can see. And yeah, it was definitely the most emotional moment of my life. Definitely the most emotional moment of Kim's life. I can really say that without a doubt.
But I wanted to say in this moment that everybody talks about like how beautiful your birth will be and what an amazing connection you'll have when you look in your child's eyes, and as soon as you see his face, you'll just be like overcome with these amazing great endorphins and everything. And that was not my experience, because I was so, number 1, extremely exhausted, number 2, extremely traumatized, and number 3, like extremely overwhelmed and disconnected. Like trauma is a disconnection from reality.
But I must say on that note, as soon as like you came back to Earth, which I would say probably it was 5 minutes after the baby came out, the tears was flowing. They were flowing from your eyes. So you definitely had that emotional connection from the get-go. But obviously,
when I was able to register, like, oh my God, this is my baby. This is his face. It was just too much at once. But when I was able to register, yes, they were the emotions were flowing, and it was a mixture of so many emotions. It was a mixture of joy, a mixture of relief, a mixture of shock, a mixture of trauma, a mixture of just a huge release of emotions at once, just mixed emotions, and disbelief, shock, I would say, and also gratitude, extreme gratitude. The doctor was freaking amazing.
She was amazing.
She's a superhero. She came and she hugged us both, and she said, I couldn't let you go and have a C-section after pushing that long. I know what your wishes were, and I just really wanted to give it a go. Sorry, I had to slit you down there. And I was like, it was needed. But yeah, so
slit is an understatement, guys. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm still in pain a month later. And by the way, that's also really tough. Like when you're recovering from that, it's really, really tough.
You need to have support. You really do need to have support during this time, because obviously the mother is in a complete agony and pain for a good period of time. And obviously the father needs to get back to work, or if the father doesn't, then you're lucky. But yeah, we were very, very grateful that we had my parents there. Some of the nights my mom would just take the baby so we can get some sleep.
It was amazing.
And it was amazing to have that
Thank
support.
you to his parents.
And they really want to come back because they miss this little thing so much. I mean, they love him so much. So they bought a little South African rugby outfit for him, and they bought a lot of things for him. And we're so grateful to everyone that bought something for us, because the amount of gifts we got is just unbelievable.
He has so much love But I feel like there's so many other things that I haven't mentioned that were part of the story. Recovery is a whole other story. I'll do that in another video, like the 4th trimester and recovery from birth and all of that, because I didn't expect that either.
I mean, for good, from the 30th until the 4th, till the baby was born, there was a good amount of adrenaline in both of our bodies. So it was a good 4 days to even a week of just us running around, doing this, doing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was just, we obviously did forget quite a bit, but it was a very traumatizing experience, but like one of the best experiences of our lives.
And then when the baby's born, then they transfer you to the recovery room and the nurses are kind of like, okay, look after your baby now. And you're like, I'm kind of like just exhausted, you know? And they're like, here's your baby, enjoy, look after him. And I'm like, I don't think I can. Like, I can't even freaking lift my arm. But I was actually walking very quickly after the epidural. Oh, that's another thing that I wanted to say. They stopped the epidural before I started pushing. So before I actually started pushing, which I pushed for a long time, they stopped the epidural because they wanted me to be able to feel things. So yeah, but I'm glad I had it because a lot went on down there that I did not want to feel and still would never want to feel. And if there is a next time, I will be just taking, if there is, you never know. Like
yes.
Right now we're very happy with just our baby. But if in the future, like we wanted a sibling for him or whatever, and for people who might be wondering whether to get the epidural, I don't know, this is just my opinion. Even though I was like against it at first and I really wanted to experience birth and go natural, next time I would just get the epidural immediately. I wouldn't go through it. I just don't think it's worth it. I don't know, maybe it's different if you aren't induced and your water's broken and stuff like that, but I would just rather just do it that way, because why go through the trauma, you know? Yeah. And also because I have in my mind, I might have to get an episiotomy. I might have to have all of that stuff done to me down there.
Because if she had that stuff done to her, like at the last stages, and she didn't have an epidural, it would have been hell. They would have had to probably inject something to make it numb and everything like that. So yeah, it wasn't worth it. And I also have to say, after the experience, I know we're going to do a video for after the birth, post-birth, but I do have to tell you is get your ducks in line in terms of documentation, identification, passport appointments, especially if you live in abroad. We live in abroad from our country. So basically, we finally got a passport appointment for him, and the minimum waiting time is 6 months. It's hell going through all the documentation, especially when you are trying, your wife is recovering, so you need to look after the baby and you have to still do all of these other things. So get all your ducks in line.
He's been a superstar with that. I haven't had to do anything. He's taken on all of that stress and all of that burden, and nobody tells you, this is another thing that nobody tells you about the admin of having a baby. So
it was an experience and a half also afterwards for that point.
But what I wanted to also say is thank God for modern medicine. And this channel, as you know, is not like an advocate for that at all. Like, I like to go natural and all of that. But this, guys, is what modern medicine is there for. Standard procedures, things that happen very often and are emergency cases where they know in this scenario A, you do this procedure, scenario B, you follow this procedure, and they know exactly what to do. They've done it 1,000 times and it's straightforward. It's not for chronic illnesses, it's not for complex cases, but it is for this kind of thing, and I thank God for modern medicine in this situation. So
absolutely.
Wanted to say that. And what else?
That's it.
That is it. That is our birth story. Comment down below if you had similar experience. Comment down below your thoughts. Did anything surprise you about our experience? Because certainly surprised me and surprised you too.
Sure. And also comment down below what stood out from you from your birth experience and what we spoke about, because it's very good for everyone to talk about the actual experiences that no one talks about, you know, the very minor things that no one speaks about that actually scares you.
Yeah. But we have a beautiful baby and we're so blessed and we're so thankful and so sleep deprived but so happy at the same time, which is strange because usually when you sleep deprived you don't feel happy, but we feel joy.
So much joy.
We feel joy. So it's beautiful. You're so
saying
beautiful.
goodbye to everyone?
Say goodbye.